Hello, welcome to another episode. Oh, I've literally joined you to host this episode straight from, I've been at a networking event this morning, which I love. It's just been amazing. My energy is so great right now. I'm actually currently reading and practicing The Magic, which, if you've not heard of it, it's a book based on the law of attraction and The Secret, but I prefer this. I love it. It's practicing gratitude every day, and it's meant to transform your life and bring in the magic. And you know what? It truly, truly has. I heard of it on a podcast. I have been recommended it before, but I've only just started implementing it. And I think it's probably going to be something that I read again and again and again and again because I'm really enjoying doing it. And that has raised my energy. But then following that, we're going to one of my favourite networking events and talking to somebody new. Well, actually, not new. I knew of her, who's known me, followed me for a while, and she was so in awe to meet me, which is so nice. It feels strange, though, as well. Like, I am just a normal person, but for her to say that and she'd like sit with me and so grateful to do a little bit of work together, and because we helped each other, did a little energy exchange, which is amazing. And do that, but also speak to and reconnect with some people that I already know there was just amazing. So, like, literally, my energy is just so high, which is the best energy to come and speak to you with and record another episode. However, I am a bit nervous that I'm potentially going to get a slight interruption from one of my children. But if I do you know what? We'll just hit pause and we'll carry on, because how you do anything is how you do everything. And I want to do everything with resilience. When I'm feeling this energy, I'm going to roll with it. I'm going to show up, I'm going to do my thing. And that is important. And I know this podcast and getting these episodes out for me is important. So here I am in another episode. And today I'm going to be talking about social media strategies for business growth, how to build your brand and engage your audience. Because I know this is what you want to hear. And again, we're talking about the chapters that I covered in my book. So there was a chapter around mastering social media. I talked a lot about the myths and busted some kind of things that you get told to do. And there are, no disrespect to social media managers, social media marketers, or social media coaches, because when I first started out as a business coach and mentor, I was saying the exact same things that some of these coaches and mentors are saying as well. But strategic marketers will know that it is best to instead be efficient, be productive, and serve yourself and work in the best way that serves you. And I want to focus on that today. So I did cover Inside Business Fundamentals, my best-selling book. I did cover some of those myths, but I want to take you on a little bit of a different journey today. I want to talk about building your brand through social media and engaging your audience, because that is what's going to get you some results. So I want to start off by saying, are you posting on social media but not seeing results? I hear this so much. I'm not getting engagement, my following's not growing, I'm not getting sales from it. I hear these statements a lot. So today I want to dive into the strategies that actually grow your business, build your brand, and engage your audience in a way that leads to sales. Because ultimately, we're doing this business thing, we're doing this gig, we're posting on social media because we want to bring new clients in, we want to get the sales, right? So I want you to think about strategies that are actually going to grow your business and not just going to be wasting your time. This is one of the most important things to me when it comes to efficiency, when it comes to productivity, is that we're actually doing things, spending time on things that are lead generating and not just going nowhere. And I want to share a little bit of my personal experience with social media. So for those of you that may not know, I have mentioned it in previous podcast episodes. I don't talk about it enough because there's always something in our story that we don't talk about enough. But I actually, 11 years ago, because my son is 11 years old, I was on maternity leave, bored out of my mind after having 2 jobs and then just having nothing, just sat at home with this baby who actually, he was really good. He slept really well, he fed really well, he was amazing. Now he's got the mouth, now he's becoming preteen, but you know what? He was amazing. He's always been amazing and well behaved as Stephen. And but I was bored. I've gone from working 2 jobs and I was bored. So I started a community page on Facebook. I actually grew the audience there to 8,000 people. We had businesses sponsoring us. I had an admin team before I knew it. It was amazing. And if I can do that with no social media or business training, it wasn't even a business, but no training, no experience, nothing at all, then We can do it too. I can, you can. I don't have 8,000 followers now, just saying. But it is possible for me to do that again, and it's possible for you to do that again. I actually did that in the space of, I want to say, around 6 months, because by the time he was 1 year old, I did start actually transitioning into business and thinking, oh, I can do this. I'm doing really well with this. Started learning about business, started diving into selling online, and that was, the rest is history. But the thing is, common struggles that business owners face is low engagement, inconsistent posting, and no sales from social media. So if there is no engagement, you're not actually building an audience, or you're not building an audience that is engaged, then it makes sense that you're potentially not getting that instant gratification that makes you want to keep on posting content on social media. And then because of that, because you hold back, because you're not seeing the results, then of course you're not going to get sales from social media, because you actually need to be visible on the platforms in order to do that. Does this sound familiar? I'm betting that it probably does. And if this is something that you commonly struggle with or find challenging, then keep listening. However, if it's not something that you maybe you are consistent, but you're still getting low engagement, maybe you are consistent, but you're still not getting the sales, then this is also for you as well. So the first thing I want to talk to you about when it comes to social media growth for your business and building a brand and engaging your audience, it's actually choosing the right platforms. You don't need to be everywhere. And you know what? I have worked with people that have said, why don't you try this platform at LinkedIn? Why don't you try Pinterest, right? And that's great. I get it, because you instantly think the more places I can post, the more visible I can be. But you're also going to be spreading yourself too thin. So whilst LinkedIn would actually be really, really good for me as a platform, Instagram, Facebook, running a podcast, running an email list on a second business is enough for me. So I want you to think about, what is the right place for you? Where is the right platform for you to be? So it might not be any of those I've just mentioned. It might be somewhere else, but you don't need to be everywhere. You don't want to spread yourself too thin. I recommend these days to be on 2 platforms as a maximum. As a minimum, actually, because I reckon it does take more than 2 platforms these days to get super, super visible. But think about what these platforms offer you. There is so much. We've got Facebook, for example. We've got Facebook groups, we've got Facebook pages, we've got Facebook profile, Facebook stories, we can go live. The possibilities there alone are endless. And then Instagram is the same. We've got different mediums and different ways we can create content and reach people. So if you can do it in different ways on one platform, you really don't need to be everywhere. You just need to utilise the tools that are right in front of you. But just think about, what is the right place for you? And a question that I want you to ask yourself is, where is your ideal client actually hanging out? My ideal client will be hanging out on LinkedIn. However, I don't feel comfortable on LinkedIn myself. I'm not used to using it. So I won't go into that. It's got to be right for you. It's got to be something you enjoy using as well. If you're hanging about on it every day, yes, it has to be where your ideal client is, but it has to be where you feel comfortable as well. So as an example, if you're a service provider, LinkedIn and Instagram might be better than TikTok. If you're a service provider, you want to build a big community, then it might be better than TikTok. But if you're a product seller, then maybe TikTok is going to be ideal for you, because you can really do some videos showing off your work. You don't really, it's more instant is TikTok. There's not as much community building, but still you can reach followers faster, then you can go live and start building that community, and you can really, really use that and be strategic on that platform. So think about the platforms you're using is my first bit of advice on that. The second bit of advice with social media and your business growth is actually optimizing those platforms that you've chosen. This will be your bios, your profiles, making it clear of 2 things: who you help and how you help them. If I had a profile that didn't say anything about business growth, making sales, making money, organisation, right? Who the hell is going to come to me? So I need to make it super, super clear who I help. Small service-based, well, not just small, service-based business owners, and how? Through business coaching and mentoring. And keep it plain and simple. Who you help and how. We do want to make it a little bit unique though. So you want to make it unique to you. So what is different about you? So for example, I think I'm the only I'm not the only one that does what I do. There are other people who cover strategy and systems and processes, but I think I'm the only business organisation coach out there, as far as I've seen. So it's pretty unique. That's my unique edge. So you want to make that clear. Like, what is your unique thing? What you're an expert in? Make that clear. But here's an actionable tip for you. I want you to think about a clear call to action on those bios and profile as well. What are you telling people to do when they come and follow you? So for example, Instagram bio, get a link in there. Where are you sending to people? Secondary tip on this, do not just send people straight to your website unless on the other end of it, it's going to capture them. Because if you send people, for example, to a product, they might not buy. But if you send them to something for free, they might sign up and you've captured their email. So then you can send emails and nurture them and look after them at a later date. You can send them back to your content on social media and nurture them through continuous growth, through your continuous nurturing and the content that you post on social media. So make sure your bio has a clear call to action on. So there's actionable tip for you to take right now. Go to your social media, have a little look. Is it clear who you are, like what you do, and how, who you help and how, and does it have a clear call to action on there? Are you taking them somewhere that takes them the next step on the journey with you? Also, I want you to think about your brand consistency across the platform. So if you are using more than one platform, I want you to make sure that the messaging hits the same on every platform, unless you have different ideal clients and you're using different platforms for different clients. Because I do have a client who I'm working with one-to-one right now who has an ideal client, two different ideal clients. So she is using Facebook for one ideal client and she's using LinkedIn for another type of ideal client. So her messaging on each of those platforms will be slightly different, but she does get to cross-reference her content, which is great. So if that's not the case, you do want the message to be consistent. You want it to speak to the same person. You want it all to say similar things. Really, really important. Are the visuals consistent as well? So using the same colours, using the same shapes, the same fonts, visually the same imagery. Is it the same? Because you want that to match up. You want people to instantly recognise you. So for me, all my platforms usually have the same headshot of me. It's usually a current and updated one, and I update this quite regularly, but as a rule of thumb I'd say update it every 6 months, because some of us might, for me it's my hair, like my hair changed last year so I had whole new photos done. You might, I'm working on my health so I might lose weight, so I will look differently, so I like to keep it updated. Doesn't mean I won't use my old photos though, because I absolutely love a lot of my brand photos that I've got. Whether I've lost weight or not, I still will use them. I still will. But yeah, it's really important. So make sure that that is consistent as well. Visually, it's consistent across platforms. Your tone of voice as well. So, you know, how you're actually coming across in your content. So the words that you're using, your tone of voice. So you don't want to be on one platform all positive and motivational, but then your tone of voice is completely different on another platform. You want people to see that it's you. You want to be instantly recognizable. So think about your tone of voice as well. Make sure everything aligns across all of your platforms. Now, social media, a big part of it is the content that you put on there. It's a massive, massive part of it. So with that in mind, think about your content and the content pillars that you're using. So I don't want this to turn into a content podcast, but having the content pillars in place will help you massively with knowing what to say, who to say it to, and how to put that out there. So if you are struggling with your social media content, if you're struggling with consistency in particular, often the reason is clarity. So I want to help you get a bit clearer on what kind of content you can be posting. So let's talk about the content pillars that you need. You may have heard this before, it may be new to you, but I'm going to give you some examples. So value-based content. You want to be posting value-based content. This is really good for nurturing your audience. So those people that are following you. In fact, it's actually good for gaining new followers as well, because someone lands on your profile. If you're posting value-based content, they're likely to click follow. But if they're already a follower of you, they're likely to keep consuming your content and start engaging. So this is things like educational tips, how-tos, or industry insights. So for example, if I had a business selling, I just thought hair extensions for some reason, then I might do educational tips on how to fit the hair extensions. Then I might, so like actually looking at, okay, educational tips on, let's say, looking after the hair extensions, so care tips for it, so people can look after the product they've bought from me. Then I might share how-tos on fitting and taking out the hair extensions as well. And then I might share industry insights, so I might share things like some statistics on common, the types of hair, or what the most popular like coloured product is, or whatever, some statistics on that. Quite interesting to people who are buying hair extensions. Some people might want to be trendy, so they might want to have the colouring of their hair updated with what's trending right now. So if I shared that, like red is in season right now, people might start buying red extensions and so on. So value-based content is your first one. The second is authority content. So this is you showcasing your expertise, sharing your client results, and showing behind the scenes. Authority content really is it's working so well right now. So if you can showcase what you can do, and you know what, I said this at the networking event today, none of us do this enough. So you really want to be showing and celebrating what you can do for other people, and you show that through your client results, but showing your expertise. We can do that through our value-based content with the education, but how else can you show and cement yourself as an authority, as the person, the go-to person, and showcase your expertise in the content that you're doing? And there's one thing at the minute, and it's sharing like what happens when you come and work with me. I'm taking some of my best testimonials, and rather than posting them as a testimonial, like, when you're in my world, you get £14,000 worth of business from attending my event. This was a literal thing that happened when someone attended my book launch event last year, and that was just with 30 people in the room. So can you imagine what it'd be like with 100 people in the room when I run my innovation celebration business event at the end of 2025? It's insane. So that is what can happen. So by me talking about this on this podcast actually is showing my authority in my industry, especially in the event space. Someone coming to my event and achieving that is amazing. It just shows the value that you can get from networking at one of my events. In fact, it shows you the power in the community that I have. These people are willing to spend money, they're willing to invest in growth, they're wanting more, they're wanting to learn. So that is valuable to you if you are selling to the similar ideal client to me. Showcasing client results and behind the scenes. Very self-explanatory. So, sharing the clients, the wins that your clients are getting, sharing some testimonials, but also behind the scenes. So not just in terms of clients, but like what you're doing for your business growth. And you know what? I'm going to be real honest, I do not talk enough about this, about what I invest in. So I might actually make a note to myself. I'm going to write that down right now, because I will forget the moment I finish this podcast. It will drop out of my mind. So I am going to talk about what I actually invest in. And I talked about my expenses today at the networking event I was at, and she was really surprised, this girl talking to, how much I actually pay out. Do you really need all of that? No, it's not a need, but it's a want. If I want something to grow my business, I am going to invest in it, such as a photographer and a videographer. I'm working with both of them this year throughout the whole year. I get an hour with my photographer every month, and then I've got 12 hours of videography content as well that my content creator's doing, and I can take those hours as and when. And this adds to my expenses. Do I need it? No, because I can sit here and take some lovely photos at home with my mobile phone and my selfie stick thing, my big tripod, right? But I'm at a point where I want to take it that next level. I want my content to look clear, crisp, and amazing, and I really want it to show me authentically. And I wasn't getting that from my home-based mini photo shoots that I did myself. So I went to someone who could capture me in my best light. So I go and invest in that. I don't need it, but I want it. And it helps me with my social media presence. So if you know something's going to help you, then do it. So that's me showing behind the scenes. I'll show behind the scenes of what I'm doing, like those content shoots or the networking events that I go to. I did it today. I shared on my stories a bit of the networking stuff. So post that authority content that showcases your expertise, shows your client results, and shows behind the scenes. The third pillar that you want to be covering is engagement content. So this is stuff that's going to get people conversing with you, that's going to get people commenting, and it doesn't always have to be comments directly on your post. It could be that they message you, they could be talking about you. It's all engagement, and we do this through storytelling. Storytelling is so impactful, so important. I try to storytell a lot. I love storytelling, to be fair. I just can't help myself. I've done it during this podcast. I love telling stories because people learn from them. So tell your stories, tell your client stories, tell what you're seeing, share stories. It connects with people, it creates relatability. Also, share polls. Share polls to get people engaging. You can do this on Facebook, in your Facebook groups. You can do this on Instagram stories and Facebook stories. You can't really do it, on a post on Facebook, on your profile, on your page, or on your Instagram. However, get creative. Go in Canva, create a graphic that looks like a poll. People might comment on it. There you go. That's a tip for you. Conversations. Engagement is not just about you posting on social media. It's about actual having conversations as well. So this can be on other people's groups, on other people's pages, on other people's profiles. It could be commenting on posts. It could be in the DMs. Have those conversations, because conversation creates connection, and connection creates conversion. So there you go. Do that as well. And personal experiences. Share your personal experiences. So if you're selling something, share your personal experience in the thing that you're selling. So for example, I could post personal experiences about business coaching that I've had. Do you know what? I'm going to write that down as well. I love when I start doing stuff. I do this with my clients. I start sharing stuff to help you, and it reminds me of actually what I could share in terms of content creation. So you can share experiences of the thing that you've invested in. So I'm going to share experiences with other coaches, good and bad. Good and bad. You know why? Because you can educate people on that and share why someone could come to you or what's different about you, and really showcase your expertise through that. But share your personal experiences, because people will also relate to that as well. So yeah, there you go. You've got value-based content, authority content, and engagement content. These really have an impact. These will help you to, on your business journey, grow through creating relatable content that builds trust. Trust is so important, especially in terms of like storytelling content. It's so impactful. The final thing I want to touch on in terms of using social media for your business growth to attract more clients, engage your audience, is visibility. So visibility, here's a rule I want to share with you. You do not have to post every single day. Consistency is better than being constant. So when it comes to the frequency of posting, stop asking coaches how often you should be posting on. I hear this all the time, and I see people ask this publicly all the time, and I just cringe because it becomes unrealistic. You don't have to post on 3 times a day on your Facebook group or profile. Would it be better if you did? Yes, I'm not going to lie. However, if the frequency is too high, that it's meaning that you're then inconsistent, because you may do it for a week, get burnt out and overwhelmed, so you stop and don't post for 2 weeks, and then you're like, oh, I need to get back on it, and you're consistent for a week again. That doesn't look like consistency. So you want to create a consistency that works for you, because that matters more than frequency. It's consistency and quality that are so important in the beginning. So when it comes to being visible on your social media platforms, and I'm talking posting on your platforms, like actual content, but also the engagement side as well, and engaging in other places, consistency matters more than frequency. So for example, 3 high quality posts a week are better than 7 rushed ones. So if you are rushing your content, it's highly likely that it's not going to get results, it's not going to get engagement, because you've not thought about the things that I've said today, and you've not created high quality content that actually is going to get someone to, is relatable, is going to get someone to engage, or is going to get a sale. So if that's happening, cut it down. Start with 3 posts a week that you feel comfortable doing, that are of high quality, and then build it up as you build comfortability with posting content. Another thing that can really help you with that is banking your content for repurposing. So when you create your content, save it. You could actually repurpose it across multiple platforms, but I actually have started saving all of my content and banking it so that I can then come back and use it again and repurpose it. So that's something you can do as well. So let's go into my final thoughts for today then. So my final thoughts on social media strategies for business growth are, I'm going to go back to strategy, sales and systems. So when it comes to your social media, I want you to think about being strategic. I want you to think about specific actions that you're taking, but I want you to think about why you're taking them, so that you're not just doing it for the sake of it or because a business coach told you to, because I told you to. I want you to think about what you're doing for you and for your business growth. Why are you taking that action, and is it strategic? That's the first thing. When it comes to sales and selling on social media, I want you to think about getting comfortable with selling. It's okay to sell on social media. Build that comfortability with it. And yes, there may be loads of people selling on social media now, more than ever. So it feels like there's a lot of competition. It feels like people are going to get sick of you selling things. But I'll let you into a little secret. Only a small percentage of your audience will see every single post that you post. Nobody's going to see anything unless they're physically coming onto your profile and looking through it. So just be mindful of that. And then finally, when it comes to systems for social media, I would say get yourself organised, plan out your content pillars, do a content plan and bank that content as well so you can repurpose and reuse it, and it will just keep things simple and it'll keep things nice and easy. So I hope you've got a lot out of this episode. Hope this has been so much value for you, make you think about what you can go away and do. Don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like, don't forget to rate wherever you're tuning in from, whether it's on the podcast, on any of your favourite platforms, or whether it's on YouTube. Please do also engage with us. Let me know how you're getting on listening to these episodes, what's been your biggest takeaways, and if you listen, please do share it on social media, give me a little shout out, and I will return the favour because I appreciate that. Thank you for listening, and I will see you in the next episode.